I feel like I'm in a Harry Potter movie. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to Drone Therapy Season 5, Episode 41, Codename DJI PRO, and that's what actually what the code name was for the Ronin 4D with all the... Okay, yeah, it's bullshit. I just made it up. It just sounded good because that was the name I went with when I made the thumbnail. So, anyway, we do know now that the name of it is Ronin 4D, and even though it's $7,000...
Yeah. 8, but who's counting?
Oh, I'm making sure my wife's not around. I really want that camera. Okay.
Yeah, you said you were You were very strongly interested, right?
John, I can't hear you. What's going on? You seem kind of low. Is it just me, guys, or does John seem kind of low?
Sounds good to me.
Anyway, I guess that's a joke. You should have seen this before we went live. Everybody, I'm going to throw it around the room, let everybody say howdy, and then we'll get into Mr. Sean GEEKSVANA, and we'll talk to him about what's going on with him, because we actually wrote down questions. We actually we did a tiny... Yes, there's one right here at the bottom that came up from John Coopy himself. So, what?
You wrote down that question.
I wrote down that question. I wrote down that question. I have previewed the questions to Mr. GEEKSVANA already. So yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
actually, it's an interesting question.
My people had to approve it.
Previous knowledge of the question, so there are no stumpers out there. And as we all know, there is a kind of an unique situation going on with the FCC now. Something that went on the other day, and towards the end of the show, Sean is going to take off. He's got some other engagements he needs to take off, so he'll be here for about another 58 minutes, and then he's going to take off, and he's going to roll us into that, and we're going to have another special guest who's requested to come on and discuss this particular prickly issue. So we'll save that one for later. And so I'm going to throw it over to, as you can see right up here at the top, Chris Hope, and let him say his good days and what's up with him.
What's up, everybody? Hope everybody had a good week. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Get old Sean involved. It's going to be either bumpy or smooth. We'll figure it out here in a minute.
Who are we going to?
Let's go down to Mr. Cooper.
Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, Chris. How's everyone doing? Should be a pretty interesting show tonight. I think we might be able to expose GEEKSVANA and his fake news. We shall see. And with that, let me give it to the fake news person himself, Mr. GEEKSVANA.
So the 3 reasons I hate John Coopy are... No, okay. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Thanks, Bill, for having me back. I'm looking forward to chilling out with everybody and ignoring John Coopy all night.
All right. And Brian?
Shameless dog promotion.
Oh, yeah. No, you can actually post the link. Don't you?
No. I want that to skyrocket all on its own.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah.
I'm taking care of it.
Hey, good to be here again. Bill, Sean, Chris.
Well,
Chad,
we have
John,
some interesting.
And John, I don't have anything against you because I barely know you, but give me time.
Well, that's good. Well, no. I'm gonna try to get you on my side against GEEKSVANA tonight, hopefully.
All right. So before we really get spicy, let me see how far I can go back. All right, we got drone shots, Salmon Rose FPV, Uncle Bill's Toys, Jim's Droning, Matt Bagwell. Lone Star UAV, Lone Star, UAV.
Okay.
You didn't see me do that, though. Let me see. Any other names? GEEKSVANA's in the house. Ron is driving. I want to say this while I'm going through this. Ron is driving home from seeing his father, so he may not be here tonight. And if he does, it'll be very briefly at the end of the show. So don't everybody get all, because Ron's driving back from seeing his papa. So that was kind of cool. Leonard Oglesby, BMAX Aerial Visuals, Chris Wedgeworth, any Dronalist, Teb Drone Flyer, AZ Drone Dude, anybody else? Drone Pilot, anybody else? Artco Drone Solutions. I don't know why I get so screw the FCC. Well, oh yeah, look who says it. Thank you. Considering you're on the other side of the pond. But that's cool, though. Thanks for the support. Jackrabbit FPV. Hello. DeMarco. Hey, what's up, buddy? Kai, good to see you. Mike, good to have you in the house. Grumpy Vlogger, good to see you. Mr. JRC's, good to see you. Oak Tom, hey, what's up? Ken, place it here. Good to see you. Okay. All right. I think the FCC has a bayonet. Anyway. All right. So these are the questions that we've come up with for Sean, and anybody in the chat. Everybody can throw in on this subject. Sean, why do you think that DJI is seemingly not coming out with a Mini 3?
I think they are coming out with a Mini 3. I think there will be a Mini 3, but I don't think they want us talking about it at the moment. I don't think they want us. I mean, it's extremely clever if you think about it. So let's roll out one of our minions and say there is no Mini 3. We're not working on a Mini 3. Don't think about a Mini 3. And it's look over here instead. We've got all these things we want you to buy because that's a few launches down the line. So I think there will be a Mini 3. I think it's a natural progression. I think they're out of sync with their launches very much at the moment. So yeah, I just think it's effective marketing from DJI as usual.
So it's going to be like maybe a February release or something.
Yeah, maybe it may even be a little bit longer than that. Who knows? I think it will depend on how well other products are selling and that type of thing. I think we're going to see more of a we're going to go back to more of a linear release schedule. So it's going to be a lot more organized again. So yeah.
Okay, what do you guys? What do the rest of you think? What do you think? Why did DJI? Is DJI?
Sorry. One other thing about the Mini 3, John Coopy is an arse hat.
Okay, and guys, any input that you have on the Mini 3?
The Mini 3, if I can jump in.
Yep.
It will be released 10 days before the Florida meetup, because that's gonna sell it right there. All those old guys getting together, yeah, it's the perfect bird.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is. I think it is going to be something, isn't it? What do you think, Chris?
How do you top the Mini 2?
Yeah, well, that's a question in itself. I think the Nano Plus success might push them into it a little bit as well, if that makes sense. I think if that turns out to be a good drone, I think it will force them to bring out something extra special sub 250. So yeah, that to me is probably going to be the biggest benchmark. The Hubsan, everything else like that. Okay, but it's not going to worry DJI.
No.
Yeah.
No, they just bait us along 6 months at a time.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
With everything, the Osmo Action 2, the Phantom 5, Mini 3, Mavic 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a lot of products out there. I mean, the Action 2 has actually been in the hands of creators for a long time. I mean, obviously the Ronin 4D has been in the hands of creators for a very long time, but they actually intended that because they wanted to get that right. A little bit kind of like how Sony are doing with their enterprise drone. That's now out in the field and being tested in partnership with professionals to try and get it just right. And I think they've done that with the Ronin 4D. One thing, sorry to go off on a tangent slightly. One thing that frustrated me slightly and this is obviously to do with the levels, the audience that they're aiming the Ronin 4D at, and the prosumer drones at, is they have done so much development and worked with lots of professionals and got the Ronin 4D sounding like it's working pretty perfectly. Because even the more sort of, you know, the honest reviewers in inverted commas out there are saying this is a really good system. It annoys me that they did all that development and got it ready, but yet a lot of our drones and the prosumer and consumer level tech, it essentially comes out in beta form, which annoys me a little bit. So it's like, well, if you can do it for that product, why can't you do it for all the products?
Right. I agree.
I was just stopping Koopy from talking as well.
What subject did y'all take off on now? I'm sorry, I had to make my pumpkin spice.
We're still talking about it. With the Ronin 4D crept back in a little bit, and I think Mr. Koopy was about to tell us about his answer to the Mini 3 question.
Oh yes, you're just in time for my answer to the Mini 3 question. So you know, it's this release from DJI is kind of interesting, right? It's except for the Action 2, you know, which that's the one thing that's maybe not like the others. This just seems to be more of a year for the commercial user, right? I mean, I'm not buying that camera. Most of us here are not buying that brand new camera. I mean, it's eight grand, right, Bill? Yeah, I know you're buying it, but you have a good reason to buy it, right? This seems to be the year of the commercial stuff for the truly newer products. I don't consider the Mini SE to be a new product, because let's be honest, it's not. It's a product that's just been repackaged. They put the Mini 1 guts in a different shell. So it looks like they focused on just the higher end this year for the most part, with the exception being the Action 2. Now, I don't know if the reason for that is because of the whole chip shortage thing. You know, if one of their cameras costs $200 more on the commercial end, when they've already put together what Bill was saying, the new camera is a good deal, right? Really good deal. You said the price is good to you.
It is. I think it's a phenomenal deal for what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, $100 here, $200 there. It's not going to be a big deal in the grand scheme of things commercially. But when you're talking about the mini drones have an appeal, not just their size, but their cost. And maybe they just felt like they couldn't get it down to a cost to performance level for this year because of everything that's going on.
Keep going.
I mean, what do you guys think? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why we didn't see it this year. I think it's inevitable that you're going to see a Mini 3. You're going to see it, but just for now, no.
What's up, Matt?
No, I kind of agree with you, apart from the fact that I can't agree with anything that John Koopy says. But
of course.
Yeah, I think it is inevitable. The same as the iPhone 14 is going to happen at some point. Okay, not as clockwork, but of course we've had things knocked out of kilter. And I think it's been quite clever, because with this marketing campaign, with the 3 releases, they know the amount of hype that they've got for the Mavic 3, and essentially they're using that hype to help sell and to help market the DJI Ronin 4D and the Action 2, because they've got that whole wave of goodwill and marketing coming in. I don't think there would have been the numbers. I mean, we had a lot of people in our live stream, and the mainstream had a lot of numbers. Yeah. I don't think there'd have been as many people in there if it wasn't for the Action 2 and the Mavic 3 coming down the line as well. So I think the whole thing's been very clever.
Yeah, they make it, Uncle Bill's Toys makes a great point too. There's really no need for them to rush. I was just thinking that as well. Like, the Mini SE and the Mini 2, they both fill a perfect space in the market. The Auto Nano Plus, yeah, that's neat, but that's significantly more money. Like, the Mini 2 and the Mini SE are in like that perfect middle price point for their category. So maybe they're just kicking back. And good, it's a good year to do it.
But have you ever known DJI to ever give up?
No, but it's a different world. It's a different world right now, though, man. It's a different world.
I guess they're kind of trying to play good guy, considering. Okay, anyway.
Well, we'll get into that later. But yeah, I mean, it's a different world, right? Just outside of DJI and everything going on with them as a company, it's not a great time for hobby grade electronics. It's not.
Okay,
No,
so
I agree.
go ahead, Chris. What was you
No,
going to say?
I agree with John.
So we're
not-
still
it's not a good time.
thinking. So there's so it's not going to be like a yearly thing, or it's just going to be like they're going to take their time. They're going to put out a quality product. They're not going to feel like they're pushed by the market anymore. Is that what you're saying in a roundabout way?
I think the Nano Plus success will be a big part of what they do with the Mini series and how that happens. And of course, that's the whole that is the whole market force thing. If they don't have people sat on them, I mean, look how long they've taken with the Mavic 3, because there isn't anything else really. The Mavic 2 Pro, the users of that love that, absolutely adore that drone. And I think it's similar with the Mini. If Autel comes along and the Nano Plus and other models future releases match up, then of course it's going to put them under more pressure.
This comment is interesting because I've heard that the automakers were also doing this, and they may still be doing this as well, where they weren't making as many quote-unquote of the cheaper cars because they had a greater margin on the more expensive vehicles. So they kind of had to pick and choose what were they going to produce. And, if you can only produce so many cars because you only got so many chips, you might try to produce the more expensive vehicles because you got a bigger margin on them. You got to make your worth of your time on the chip block, so to speak.
What was the big
Yeah,
secret
indeed.
that DJI slipped out today? Did everyone catch that? Was it something that appeared in the lot? Because I just watched Peter's video and I was just like, man. Because it's basically...
Hubba.
Well, I mean, yeah, because, to me, this is, and I'll still stick by it, to me, this is a camera for under $10,000 that could easily be priced for 50 grand or higher because of what all it could do.
See, I don't know anything about that market, so,
Oh, either.
Yeah, I think it is decent. I think it's a fantastic setup, and as with anything, you can add more and more toys to it and make it more and more expensive, of course. But it's going to be interesting to see the applications when now of course it's not under development. Now it's actually in the marketplace. I mean, for instance, one of our channel sponsors, they're allowing us to unbox the one that they've ordered. They've ordered one today. So it is actually, I know people who are ordering that camera. So there seems to be a good marketplace for it.
Absolutely.
I looked at some of the specs on that camera, and I'm wondering where the tie-in to the Mavic 3 Cine model is going to be, because it seems like the fact that they're bringing that out and the Mavic 3 in 2 or 3 different flavors, and that Cine thing is supposedly it's made for filmmakers, and look at this camera they just made.
Me either.
I think, like Lauren said in the chat, I think it's more likely going to the Inspire 3 that's been sat on the shelf ready for a good 8 to 10 months now. I think that will be rolled out to use the X9 platform in the sky, and I think then we'll, once the Mavic 3's out and everyone's like, yeah, actually this could be a mini Inspire type thing for the Cine level especially. Then they'll hit us with the Inspire 3 and say, actually, no, there is a level above that still.
So what you're saying is potentially like a late spring, early summer release. So
yeah, I don't know when, and I think it's hard to predict when from the point of view of, I mean Lauren was talking about spring, and I don't disagree with that at all. I 100% agree that could happen. It's ready, so there's no reason why it couldn't. I think perhaps it's important, your subject later in the show. I think it's perhaps important to see what happens in the next 6 months in terms of that side of things and the entity list and that, et cetera. Yeah. But I think that they need something to be able to put the X9 in the sky, and that would have to be a 3.
Very cool. But what I was talking about was when you were saying that potentially when they release the Inspire 3 would be when they would, so it would be like another set of 3s. So there would be the Mini 3 and the Inspire 3. So kind of
Yeah.
the consumer side as well as the professional.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, that could work, couldn't it? That could be another good things come in 3 again, and we see the Mini and the Inspire come out at the same time. Who knows? I mean, I think the Mini would be a banner product all by itself. The Inspire would definitely be a banner product all by itself. So I don't know whether they would mix those marketing messages up, but what on earth do I know about DJI marketing?
Well, the thing about it too is we all know that part of the deal with us getting the Mini 2 so quickly was the fact that he just was not happy with the product that they put out the first time. So,
yeah,
or do you think that's all hearsay?
Yeah, I think the Mini 2 was already planned and was already on the design line before the Mini came out. Frankly, these large multi-billion-pound companies, the same as car companies, they don't have. They're not as reactionary as you might think they are. They have plans. The next year's schedule is already there for DJI. Their release schedule, they already know what's coming out, and they're already working on the next products beyond that, basically. So it's a much larger ship, and they can't turn it that much, basically. The pandemic and Chipageddon, that has forced them to turn the ship, most certainly.
Did y'all see this?
Yes, I'm aware of those. I'm aware of the fact that they're literally just cutting power to entire cities and whatnot to save power. And factories are just being turned off. They're being told, sorry, you're not going to be powered on for Monday, Tuesday, and Friday or whatever. I mean, they're just shutting it off. There's all sorts of explanations to why that's happening. So... yeah, there's a lot going on.
All right, we're going to go down a rabbit hole, and we only got shown for another 40 minutes. Number 2 of the questions that we had all come up with was, will the proposed Autel Evo 3 be able to compete with the Mavic 3 now that we know the specs and everything about it?
Is this for me again?
This is for everybody, but since you're a guest, I figured we would just ask general questions first.
Okay. I think the Autel 3 will be a different product in the same way that the 2 was. So I don't think that the Nano Plus and Light Plus, that is Autel saying we'd like a slice of the DJI pie, certainly. I don't think the Evo. I think the Evo 3 will be a different offering and will attract its own marketplace. And I don't necessarily see the 2 intertwining, but yes, there are always going to be people that decide between the 2. But I've always seen the Evo 2 as a different offering to the Mavic 2 Pro, etc., and a different type of flyer and a different type of user, frankly. And I think that will continue with the headline model.
Nice way to pussyfoot around the. Anybody else want to come in?
How is that pussyfooting?
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's a direct. He's saying a well thought out direct answer.
Okay, but isn't one of the proposed gimbal setups a Micro Four Thirds on the Evo 3?
Yes, but the product itself will not be necessarily aimed at the Mavic 3, the same buyer as the Mavic 3. The same as the Autel 2 wasn't necessarily the same as a Mavic 2 Pro user. If you look at them, they're often quite different types of user.
Yep. Here's the thing. I equate it to Apple and Android.
Yeah.
Majority of people love Apple. Apple's okay with me. I prefer Android. To me, it's a more logical product. I've owned an Evo. I've owned DJI stuff. I still do. An Evo has a different type of output than anything DJI has ever come across. The Mavic 2 Pro and the Zoom used to be able to adjust the color, the color to an extent, but it never had the range or didn't come close to it as the Autel did. And I always thought that was a little bit odd. So it's like, I don't want to say apples to oranges, but they're apples of the same, like Gala apples and Red Delicious. They're the same, but they're not.
Mm.
Check the comments, John. Okay, so anything else, or we think this is a a good subject to move, because it's what he's saying is he's agreeing, and I'm just simply saying to me personally, they're direct competitors with each other in my brain. That's what I get.
I think once they're both released, I think you'll see the differential in the marketplace. But as I say, the Nano Plus and the Light Plus, I think they are bang on going for DJI Marketplace there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, cool. All right, next subject. Our next question. Will the U.S. maintain the 249-gram weight limit in places they have it now?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't think, but here's the thing. Do you think that I guess I should expound on this question. Like other countries have realized 249 grams flying out of the sky is not going to end your life. Do you think they'll ever do that in the United States?
Well, they've already proved it. They've already proved it when all them show drones fell out of the sky.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I think the sub 250 market is hugely popular with regulators all around the world. When I was with the CAA at the Drone Expo a couple of weeks ago, literally they were, get out, get your sub 250s, get out and fly them. They are very, very popular, very, very, and I don't see regulators changing their opinion on it. Whether or not the FAA and the US market changes to be similar to how it is in Europe here at the moment, where you can fly over people and all this sort of business, etc., with your Mini 2s, I don't know. But yeah, I think the sub 250 is here to stay.
Everybody else? Anything? Anyone? Bueller?
It seems hard for me to imagine that when you ask that question, Bill, I'm assuming you're asking like, will it literally ever change? And as the technology advances, I just have a hard time. I have a hard time believing that they won't try to come after that category too. It seems every year that goes by, the smaller models are able to do more and more and more.
Exactly.
And, we never even did an actual risk assessment here in the United States for it. I don't even remember. I don't even know how they came up with the number.
I actually know how they came up with the number. Would you like to know how the number was? Because Brendan Schulman was actually sitting on the committee that came up with that number.
Yes, and how did they come up with it?
They literally picked it out of the air.
There you go.
Quite literally.
There you go.
And the perception was that sub 250, there's never really going to be anything in that marketplace at that time, all these years ago, of course, and that they felt that was a safe level. But it was, Brendan Schulman has said on Twitter, it was literally picked out of the air at a very early meeting.
Now, Canada, I think I heard this on your show, Canada did do a risk assessment. They actually did. But did they only do that because they picked that number out of the thin air here? Yeah.
I mean, it's and also, of course, you have to look at it from the point of view that there is a manufacturer-driven side of it as well. So if there's lots of drones coming out that are sub 250, then regulators are going to look at those and say, okay, well, because manufacturers are making these, so it's kind of like it becomes a chicken and egg thing, which came first.
Right.
And so I think Canada was adopting to that side of things. We've also had the risk assessment here in the UK and the EU from the point of view that we are looking at our drones and we're going to be labeling them C0 to C4 depending on how dangerous they are if they come into contact with human skin or fall on someone. And then the lower the C number, the more you can deal with it. Like C0s, C1s, you can fly those things wherever you want to. Sub 250, you can do whatever you want. C2, you can't fly in congested areas unless you have an A2 CFC, which I hold, and then you can get within 5 meters of uninvolved people with that. So we have switched our rules here completely from the whole "are you flying commercially or not" thing. That's gone now completely to risk-assessed flying. That's the only thing that we base it on, and that's why I think the sub 250 market is pretty safe globally for a good long while.
Gotcha.
All right, cool. So we got that subject covered, and I've actually marked it off the list. Okay, now we have another question, and let's see if this person recognizes it's their question. Do you get tired of all the rumors surrounding the drone industry?
For me, this is an interesting one actually, because some of the most popular videos on my channel are leak stroke rumor videos, but it's not something I necessarily. I don't enjoy making them, if that makes sense. There isn't an intrinsic value there to me. So now I try to stick to things where, like today, we did the spec sheet on the Action 2 because we actually have some facts. So if we have like an FCC filing, some leaked photos, or a manual, that type of thing, I'm much happier to do something on it. If it is literally just rumor, it's okay as well, because there's a big audience out there for it, and you have to look at these channels that are growing, week on week, literally just doing rumor videos. So there is an audience out there. So I think there is enough space out of there for all types of drone tech content. If you look over at the pure tech side of things, Marquise Brownlee was talking about this a couple of weeks ago. The iPhone, the next iPhone is almost leaked the day before this iPhone releases. So they're very much used to that on that side of things. So I think it's okay. I think what I don't like personally are the videos that say this is happening, this is the price, this is that, when they don't have that fact in front of them. And I don't mind people saying, I think it would be this, what would you pay for it? Which is how I would like to do things if we don't know the actual information. So I think, but I'm not sick of them. And I think there's always an audience out there for every type of rumor video. But I think some of them could be handled a little better.
Very cool. What do y'all think? Anybody?
I agree with Sean.
I agree with Sean too. I am sick of the people who do put out the rumor videos that don't specify this is just a rumor. It's not set in stone. Like they'll act like this thing actually freaking exists, and that this is the price. And to me that's irresponsible and just really annoying. Speculation is fun,
but there's a razor fine edge to clickbait now.
Well, because it makes a lot of money.
YouTube is clickbait. YouTube is clickbait. It's as simple as that. The algorithm rewards clickbait. It's kind of like your videos have to be as clicky as humanly possible, but then you've also got to deliver after it as well. And those are the channels that the Mr. Beasts and things that go absolutely stratospheric because they're clicky and they deliver. So there's the two sides of it. I think as John was quite rightly saying, it is when people say they hold facts and they don't, and that frustrates me slightly because some of us will sit and watch those videos and say you couldn't possibly know that. There's no way you could possibly know that information. And I sometimes worry about the consumer not buying another drone. Like we get a lot of people at the moment asking me, should I buy a Mini 2 or wait for the Mini 3? And it's like, well, buy the Mini 2 because it exists, basically.
I walked into the DJI store, and I've talked about this before. And I had a good chat with the gentleman who was running the store there, and I think this was around the time that it was either I think it was the Mavic 2 was kind of floating around as a rumor mill, and he was saying, he's like, dude, I've got so many people coming to my store asking me for this Mavic 2, and he's like, it doesn't exist yet, man. He's like, we don't know anything about it. He's like, if I did know anything about it, I can't tell you. He's like, but because of these blogs and because of these videos, these people think for sure this thing exists. He's like, and some of them, they don't want to buy anything.
No, it's not clickbait if it happens. It's not
because they think it exists. So they're not buying. So sometimes if this stuff gets leaked too early, when there's not actually going to be a release, it's not good. It actually hurts sales.
But again,
that, it depends on when the leaks happen.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things that I've tried to put across as well is it's two other channels that choose to talk to me about this kind of thing. Is actually it's okay to say you don't know, and it's okay to say this is just a rumor. I've heard this rumor today. What do you guys think? And the audience will actually click on it just as much and want to have just as much of a conversation with you. You don't need to sit and pretend you have facts, basically.
Yeah, don't pretend that you have inside knowledge. when
Yeah,
your inside
yeah.
knowledge is that you just Googled for the latest drone DJ article.
Yeah, indeed,
you know, you guys
indeed.
get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, completely.
All right. Anybody else? Because I want to. Cause we got 26 more minutes. All right. So next subject is, and each of these questions goes directly to Sean first, and then after Sean finishes, anybody on the panel can feel free to answer. All right. Will the toy drone manufacturers copy the consumer drones and produce a horribly built Micro Four Thirds drone? And Hubson's drone doesn't count.
I was going to say, haven't they already done that?
Hubson's drone doesn't count. I'm talking about really like what is it? JJRC or something like.
I would say it's not my marketplace, so I don't know. I genuinely that isn't something I would have thought. Anything the consumer drones do that the toy market will always try to capture as well, and to say, hey, here's a $50 or a $250 version of that $1,000 drone. But I would say probably this man would be able to answer that a little bit better because he sits and plays with toys all day.
I see. I'm just the toy man. I don't do anything. I see where it is.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's implying that you like things that run on batteries.
Oh, okay. Even worse. Right, that's it. That was completely disrespectful, and I'm out of here.
All right, bye.
That was a good answer.
Bye, John.
So,
Oh, you're back.
yes,
You know what? I to be honest with you, I do not fly as many toy grade quadcopters as I used to. In all honesty, the toy grade market has kind of just gone down the crapper, especially in the last couple of years. I really think it's a combination of just, well, first of all, the bar being lowered to get an actual good drone. And second of all, the chip thing seems to have pushed the prices of the toys higher than they should be. And they just don't seem to even really be improving. It's the same thing for the last 2 years, honestly. They put them out. The Wi-Fi FPV is terrible. It's the same thing, different day. I got tired. It got old for me. I stopped looking at it. I still take a look just to see what's going on every now and then. But for the most part, most of the toy market is a pile of junk. I think the toy market would love to clone the big guys, but they fail to do so. Will it eventually happen in time? Sure. Just like anything else in technology. Eventually they get to it. You know, if you look at the toys, if you look at the toys that we have right now, and you consider what was available 5 or 6 years ago, right? I think I paid $70 or $80 for a SEMA X5C. We all know what that drone is, right? We all know the SEMA. That drone had no GPS. It had no altitude hold. It had nothing. That was a basic stabilized flyer. Now, for the same price, you can get a toy-grade drone that has a GPS on it to return to home. It's got, a little better camera on that than we did then. You could even do waypoints with some of them. Sure, they're not going to take you very far, but I mean, the SEMA didn't even have an app.
I love all the caveats with the toy market. Hey, it's got a battery. Sure, the battery's going to last 20 seconds. And hey, it's got waypoint, but you can only do one waypoint, and that's called over there and back.
Yep, exactly. I mean, but you could do it, so they can do more.
Yeah,
I kind of like the days when the toys were simpler, though. Honestly, when the toys couldn't do all this stuff.
That's the toy. But surely that's the toy RC market, isn't it? That you get into it and you evolve out of it in a certain direction, be it FPV, fixed wing, scale helis, camera drones, and you evolve out of it and go. It's not really a marketplace I think people stay within for too long. There's always the exceptions, of course, but.
People used to stay in it longer, or at least would stay in a lower end market longer, because, go back to the Mavic Pro times. I mean, your options were a Mavic Pro for $1,000, or a DJI Spark without a controller for, what was it, $500, Bill? I think that's what the Spark was, right?
Oh, yeah,
so, the $100 to $300 category was pretty damn popular, and if you could pick up a drone for $200, and maybe strap a GoPro to it, the Bugs, the MJX Bugs, a lot of people remember that one. People were taking their action cameras, sticking it on the bottom of that thing, and we just made it work. It was a drone you could pick up for $100, and you could have a camera on it and take, you know, casual hobby pictures with it. But, you know, now with the Mini SE out there, or the Mini 2, it's like, why the hell would you buy a Bugs drone and then throw a GoPro on that? Why would you do that, right? So the toy market's just kind of...
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I actually had put a show. Is that Scotty? Yes, that is Scotty O Swag, and we will be giving it away next week with our special guest, none other than Mr. Billy Kyle.
Oh, really?
So I had proposed a way to give it away, but they kind of talked me out of it, I guess, if it would work. I just thought it would be really cool if we could, because I know Billy's not watching this and probably won't watch this, and Philly probably isn't either, but I thought it would be cool if we could get Philly Drone Life to come in and be like the ghost of Christmas, or the ghost of Halloween past, and then he would kind of like, "This is your life, Billy Kyle," and then he could ask like general questions about Billy, and then we would have like 3 rounds, and then people that, you know, did well would progress. But apparently that's
so.
This is just too difficult.
So tell me, Bill, do you have these dreams often?
Yes, I do. Really, it's a thing that I have. So, you know.
Charles, I agree with this. You know, if you look on eBay right now, it's true. You will see drones that claim they have 6K, 8K. This has been a lie that has been going on for as long as they've been making them. I mean, even 720p, was a lie back in 2016. They were, when you would get the camera, it would basically be like 260p or 360p. They would lie about that too. You know, they've been lying about the specs for years. I think that, you know, what Uncle Bill said here, it's all relative. Eventually what we're excited about today will be outdated and cheap to produce. Yes, but I think we're talking maybe on the order of like, it may take the toy people 10 years to put what's in the Mini SE in the toys of today. Like, seriously, it may take a long ass time. I think they'll
do it with the tech they got.
Even 10 years might be asking a little bit too much. Maybe 15 years.
We'll see one in the next 6 months.
We might see Mini 2 components, Mini SE components in the toys 10 years from now, 15 years from now. I mean, I tell you what, the progression seems to have gotten really slow in the last 3 years. Not a lot has changed, seriously.
Yeah, because they're not selling
the lies on the box have not changed. The lies have not changed, but look at the range. Have they improved the range on these toys? Not really, no. Have they really improved the cameras? No. Also, actually, the toys have gotten worse. You know how many toys don't have an SD card on board these days? They've actually nixed the SD card. Used to be, any toy you bought. No, seriously.
Whoa,
tons of the toys do not have an SD card. Look and see how many of them
anymore.
Yeah, look and see how many of them offer an SD card. They started getting rid of the SD card.
That is bullshit. You're right.
It used to not even be an issue, and then I ended up with 1 or 2 that had no SD card, and I was like, what is going on here? So then before I would even be willing to accept a toy to try to play with for review, I would check to see if it had a card. Because, honestly, I didn't want it if it didn't have a card. Because anytime anyone would see that, they would be like, what kind of footage am I going to get from this crap? So we've actually gone backward in some ways.
Well, remember we did a show, the downward spiral of toy drones.
It's continued to go on a downward spiral and stay stagnant, unfortunately.
Well, the thing about it was I actually made a jokingly title in our group chat earlier, because I couldn't find there is absolutely no drone deals on any name brand drone for Christmas this year. So I typed in Christmas 2021, the year of the shitty toy drone. So that's what we're going to see probably, is a bunch of cheap ass, Bobo toys Although now, I mean, these, the little toys like that Ron got, and then one from John, those are like $10 or $12, and those are awesome little things. And I really do think on Black Friday we'll get some $4 or $5 deals on them. And those are throwaway drones. I'll be honest with you. You just rip them to death and then throw them away.
Listen, this year I am not expecting a whole lot in terms of like Black Friday deals. Given everything going on, I think you're going to see one of the lamest Black Fridays that you've seen in a long time. I could be wrong, but we'll see what happens.
I was just saying hi to Mike. Mike popped in. Looking forward to the 89. Oh, what? Okay, tell us about that, man. Tell us, Brian.
Oh, I flew a Holy
That's
Stone.
pretty much it.
I flew a Holy Stone
$89
recently.
4K?
Yeah, why not? I love listening to John.
I flew a Holy Stone recently. It was interesting.
GEEKSVANA on a break.
I started on Holy Stone. That's
Some of
why
them are okay. Some of them are all right.
But yeah, they'll just pretty much just take off into a tree on you.
That's a super question right there. And to be honest with you, I know plenty of parents that are going to see a kid that say, "Mommy, Daddy, I want a DJI Mini 2," and they're going to be like, "Oh." And then they go, "Oh, $250? Why don't we get you one of those $50 drones from the mall?" You know?
Yeah.
I think
exactly.
that's the way it's all. I mean, that's the way I started.
Listen, those $80, those $50 to $80 toys are always going to be great to give to kids to play with, so that they can have a drone, and then Dad can fly his big drone, and everybody's happy, right? I mean, that'll always be there. Also, I want to say that, to us, because we deal with the American dollar, the British pound, whatever, that money to us is not much, right? But in other countries, that's expensive. It may be all that they can afford, some of those toys, because their dollar's not,
Well, the other thing too, you got to look at
cost of living.
People in general as a whole. There's plenty of people who would like to get or start out with even a Mini 2, and they can look at it like, oh, you throw everything in, that's over $500. Oh, I'll just buy this $100 drone.
Ed,
Right.
what's up, Ed?
Right, it's a significant investment. It is. I think the Mini SE though
Your
did
messenger
change
tie.
things a little bit, because for $299, all right, now you're looking at spending maybe $80 to $100 for one of these toys. So it's like, just not that much more, relatively speaking. See, that depends on everyone's situation, and then you can get the Mini SE. But then again, I don't want a kid.
The SE is a grey product anyway, isn't it? It isn't an official, DJI.com product, etc. It is a grey product using bits and pieces up, and for the grey product zones around the world, they just just so happens you can get hold of it in the US, etc. It isn't a real release.
Right. But even so, it exists, and so it is something that you have to look at when you're thinking about spending money on these toys. But that being said, everyone's situation is different, and like I said, some people in other countries, that $80 for that toy drone may be the only way they're ever going to own a drone. And I say that because I look at some of what I see coming in from my Banggood stuff, and a lot of times the purchases are not from the United States.
Yeah, no, indeed.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, some other information before I start. We've got one massive, GEEKSVANA ending segment question before we roll into the other one that one of our other viewers brought forward. But some information that anybody who had been checking on Jasper's Twitter page, he had gotten some European pricing links to the new Action 2, and then I kind of looked at them and figured what I would consider probably what the U.S. market will price them at. We've got the US 2, the DJI Action 2 power combo. I have no clue what that is. I'm assuming
that is the camera module with an extra power module below, basically. So that's the one where you can go up to like 180 minutes at 1080p and that sort of thing recording. So
it's like does it appear to be Session 5 size or a little bit bigger?
Yeah, there is actually there's another chap. I'm trying to think of his name because he hasn't got a very easy to remember name. Who started atting me today, and he's actually got one. He put a picture. If you look on the community tab, I think I put it on.
Is it the one where he's got 5 of them?
I sent them to John Coopy. Yes, I sent them to Coopy. The pictures, and he's actually put them up against all the other cameras.
It's in the very middle.
Size.
It's in the very middle. Yeah.
So yeah, it is that. So yeah. The power combo has the main camera and the extra power block at the bottom, basically, and then the lanyard thing around it, and
so we've got and then the full-fledged thing is the front touchscreen module. So anyway, for the whole thing, we've got the power combo, which is the Session 5 with the extra battery. We're figuring $499.99 US. The battery is going to be right at $70, $69.99. We're going to say, and then the dual screen combo, so the full touchscreen thing is going to be around $625 to $630, and then the module itself by itself is going to be about $225 to $230. So those things are coming. One other thing I wanted to bring up: anybody that has a Skydio 2 and you haven't updated to the most recent firmware, please do so. There's a lot of safety stuff that they've added to it, and I personally think that it seems as though they've done some tweaking on the camera and the color profile. I've posted a picture in Coast to Coast Roads of something that I took recently. If y'all get a chance, or you check on if you get a chance, check on my Facebook page. There's actually another picture there, and I'm and it flies. I'm not skittish with it anymore. Up until this update, I was a bit nervous when I would put it in the air because of the Wi-Fi. But now it's like rock solid, and I really, really like that. So, with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and, before we get into the FCC moment of the evening, I'm going to say this last question, and I'm going to give it to Mr. GEEKSVANA first, and then we'll throw it around to the panel. When will the hobby die?
I've said for a while that I think the hobby it has already transitioned. If you look at the audiences that we have, there are already a swathe of people from the chats that we don't see anymore. That and it happened when the rules changed here and remote ID was announced and that type of thing. We have lost people from the hobby. I don't think it will ever die. I think it's going to transition, and I think the hobby. Which is actually a hobby. So the building and the the self build, that type of thing, I think that's going to be here forever. And I don't think that's going anywhere. The camera drone side of things, that kind of hobby, I think will change. The Mini 2 has changed it an awful lot, and I think as things become smaller and smaller, and we start to get the flying cell phone sized Sony drones and things, then I think we're going to see another type of person enter the hobby that won't even really think of themselves as hobbyists. And great swathes of Mini 2 owners don't see themselves as drone hobbyists. They're just people that happen to own a drone, the same as they own a smartphone and that type of thing. So I don't think it's going to die out. I think it's going to transition into different things.
Anybody else? Input?
I think Sean hit the nail on the head.
I think so too.
What the hell, man? Everybody's here.
Sorry. No. I think Sean's full of shit.
All right. You better make
Sean's full of shit.
You all better make sure Sean signs those checks before you go to the bank.
Bill is unhappy with this answer because this is drone therapy.
You're all just yes men tonight. I feel like
Bill's unhappy with this answer because this is drone therapy, and if we're not talking about the hobby dying and the death of it, and that we're not going to be able to fly anymore, and all of that, then it wouldn't be normal. This is actually a happy ending. This is a happy ending.
Says the man whose question this is.
Okay.
I want you all to know that it was John's question.
It's dead.
John.
It was my question because it wouldn't be drone therapy if we didn't bring up the hobby dying.
He asked it so I wouldn't have to, I guess. That's what he's saying.
I did. I asked it so you didn't have to.
Okay.
I do have an answer to this, I think.
All right.
And it's sitting right here behind me. Y'all can't see it because
it's a log cabin.
Because it's
my log cabin.
It's a fireplace.
Right,
it's a fireplace. You're going to throw all your drones into the fire.
Half of this room is taken up by an HO model scale layout.
Oh,
that hobby is dying. Once I've hit well, if I hit 80s, there won't be anything to buy. It is almost impossible now to find the true supplies you need to make scenery to make it well. It's all pre-made. There's no craft to it anymore. What I'm saying, and kids, they don't even want to think of getting into it. It's pretty to look at. And that's another thing. This hobby itself, how many of y'all have kids and you go to hand them the controller and they go like, I don't want to, back to the video game. It's only as good as a generation or two, maybe.
But you just had to say HO, man, because I was 10 years old, right? Dad wouldn't let me. Okay, we're at that point of the show. Sean's getting ready to bail here any moment. You can go ahead and take off, Sean, if you want.
No, I'm okay for a few minutes.
Okay, but I'm gonna go squirrel just for a minute before we get into
cool.
the intense
Do it.
part of this. Before we get into the intense part of this show. All right, here we go. So when I was like 10 years old, and I was forbidden to go into the basement of the house. Was not allowed to go into the basement of the house. And it was I was like, what the hell's going on? And I could hear all kinds of construction and weird shit going on downstairs. And I was like, but then it started dawning on me. I was like, wait a minute, Christmas is like a month and a half away, and I can't go downstairs. So either my presents are downstairs or something's going on downstairs that I'm going to think is cool. But anyway, come Christmas morning, I had like 3 presents on the tree, and yes, I was pissed. But I had, at that point in time, I had completely forgotten about the basement because basically, apparently the construction was complete a week and a half before Christmas and everything died out. And I had forgotten about going downstairs. So anyway, I'm like, okay. So I go downstairs and I walk around. I'm walking down the steps and I look over to the left, and my dad had put in all these lights and stuff. And he had laid out this entire, huge sheet of plywood. And I had a whole village, and had the cork laid under the track and everything. And hoe scales are not massive ones like the others. They're kind of a more a smaller, and everything's so cool. It's like when somebody tries to do when you're doing like the miniature look when you're taking pictures and video from the drones. It's actually like that, and it was so cool. And then 2 weeks later, a friend of mine brought sand in and threw it on the train and messed it all.
Smoked it. Dang.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
Now, you mentioned that picture. That's tilt shift. And every time I see a picture like that, first thing I think of is my HO layout.
Yeah. It's half full of Texans. Okay, start speaking with the Texas accent, Sean. We'll just make everybody feel happy.
If we're talking about if we're talking about the hobby of radio control flying things, I actually think it's growing. It's just not going to be the same as it was before. Oh, it's just not going to be the same as it was before. You talk about kids playing video games, right? Getting on a controller, playing a video game. To me, that's what FPV basically is. It's like playing a real-life video game. And if you're good at playing video games, then chances are you're probably good at this too. The only barrier is the only real barrier, honestly, is the cost, because a video game is free no matter how many times you crash the car in Grand Theft Auto or whatever. This is expensive.
You can still buy them. I'm sorry.
You're right, John, and that's why I cannot figure out why more kids aren't attracted to this hobby, especially the FPV side.
Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't help that, unfortunately, there are so many places where it would be nice to fly there'll be so many places where it would be nice to fly that are getting banned from flying drones. Like, there's so many local parks here that have banned drones. I don't know where kids are gonna get the opportunity to see somebody flying an FPV drone unless they see it from the internet. They're certainly not gonna meet me in a place where a park has banned flying a drone. I mean,
this is scary how true it is now. This is scary.
And that's bad, yeah, and that's horrible. But
I mean, because kids will cut you off by like this far.
Yeah.
Every warning whistle for, because we got our Jeep has all kinds of like warning signals and beep, beep, boop, bop, 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 and it even parks itself if you let it. But I was driving along the other day, and I swear a kid missed me so much. The car stopped. It slammed on the brakes, where she darted in front of me, and it just went. And I was like, "Oh man!" I liked her. Just went ahead and smacked her and said, "Daddy! Oh, Daddy! Daddy! Oh God, Daddy! Oh, Daddy! Daddy!"
It wasn't my fault.
Always take a ride in an ambulance.
Okay, I'm going to head out
That's
now,
my
guys.
insurance rates go.
I'll
go
take
up.
that as my cue to leave. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yes, and I'm glad to have had you. We had a blast. Come back sometime.
Yeah, I will. And thanks to my UK viewers who have also joined in the chat as well. I really appreciate you guys coming along.
Thank you guys. Very,
Before
very
you leave, while you're just in arm's reach, I'm just going to give you a nice punch. Right there you go.
I didn't feel anything. I didn't. You're air. You're made of air.
It's
more like a mosquito bite.
Watch half the crowd follow Sean.
Just in arm's reach.
All right,
Just
thanks,
in
And
arm's reach.
my final words are Koopy sucks.
Oh, all right. So as you can see, we've added the extra member to the panel because this is a part of the show when we were going to discuss the recent developments with the FCC and adding DJI to yet another banned list. The forum is now open, gentlemen. Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had 2 releases in 2 days from the FCC, and I've sent you the screenshots. I don't know if you want to put them on or not. But basically, yesterday, Commissioner Carr put up for DJI to get put on the covered list, where they're no longer eligible for federal funding of any type.
Go ahead.
And was the reasoning that, and I want to know where you get these drones at, okay? A drone that can take a man's temperature and a man's heart rate. Okay,
Well,
I don't even know where you get those things at.
That's what they were
If there's
saying,
one
that
out
you-
there, I want one.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
right.
what I was thinking too.
Holystone
I
makes those.
wanted one for myself if it could actually do all that. Let me do this. I can't. It won't let me pull it up that direct way. So what I'm going to do is I will bring up his actual.
If you need me to pull up the tweet, I can pull that up too. With the
Well, I've got
files.
this one from BGR, so I can just do it this way.
That works.
Well,
Sure.
I read a
It's just
couple of
got the
articles
article,
on that
too.
too.
I
I read some articles on that,
here.
and the commissioner is going to be out of a job here in the next couple. of
Yeah,
months.
yeah, that was.
As soon as I read, he was a
that's even that's,
underpointy.
Here we go. As you can see right here. Now, hey, I'm not. Let's not get political on it. It seems that this was political in nature, but the whole
Yeah.
point is, we don't know for sure. But it's like baloney. We know that for sure. Sure, it's baloney. Saying it's Huawei with wings and all this. Because, like I said, if they can find a drone that can measure your heartbeat and all this stuff, I want one because it would just be cool to have. So. But yeah, do you all really think, is that what y'all think, he's just going to be crap out of a job over this?
I don't know.
I'm
I don't know.
sharing the official FCC news release.
I need to be able to. Let me see if I can.
I don't know. Do you think that this is big enough of an issue for him to
This
lose
is
his job
only,
over it?
This is only part of it, John. This
All
is
right, go
what
ahead.
came out yesterday, right?
Right. I'm
This
not
is
on the
where he
other level
goes
what
up-
came out
this is-
today.
This is where he comes on, the DJI drones and all the stuff they can do. And then we have this gem right here that came out today.
Let's see. Because this is an update. This I have not seen.
This is the bombshell right here.
I need to read this carefully here. Oh, closes a Yahweh loophole. Okay. So what's the basics of this?
Basically, they're wanting to yank the licenses for anyone that they seem to be a threat to national security.
Right.
And
okay.
that same term we read in the release yesterday, where he goes on about putting DJI on the covered list because they're a threat to national security.
Right. And he also
Is it a
wants
coincidence for this to come out in 2 days after another?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I see what you're getting at. Yeah. I mean, is he? Yeah. What can I say? What can I say? You know,
He's out of his freaking mind for one.
Well, yeah, that's what Sean was saying, that he lost all credibility when he said that. So
I see. Yeah. Who the hell knows what's gonna happen then? Yeah. Yesterday was looking pretty bad, and now after seeing this, I don't know what to think anymore.
Bye, Steve. Thank you for coming in. Let's not go there. Let's not get in that. I just want to. We're not talking. We're just talking about drones right now. But
yeah, we don't need to get political, but this right here has been passed in the House. Needs to go to the Senate now. And if the Senate signs off on it, then anything that's a threat to national security is gonna go away. And
right.
We already know where he stands on DJI. Was the release from yesterday?
Right. Exactly. And it would be. Listen, if he was able to get what he wants, it would be extremely bad. Because not only does he want to add DJI to the covered list, which would ban federal dollars from having anything to do with it. Like that in and of itself wouldn't necessarily be a death blow, because as far as I'm aware, DJI doesn't really have much in terms of federal money going toward them anyway.
They're already on the entity list, so they ain't
right.
getting it.
But what they want to do, though, additionally, is that they're calling for re-examining whether to expand it to also include non-federal dollars. That would be the death blow to DJI. And this would also affect people in FPV as well, because you'd be talking no more hardware would be approved by the FCC. The DJI FPV system would basically be dead in the water as it is. There will be no new hardware approval. You would not see a version 2. There will not be any new air units. There will not be any new nothing. They will not get anything approved if this man gets his way. So, and
the thing that's crazy here, though, is yesterday it was kind of a joke. But see, I didn't know about this actually going through the House today. And so this same, like he said, Huawei loophole is what they would use to, pretty much do the same exact thing to DJI. And if it's already passed the House, it might see a much more difficulty in the Senate. Yes.
Yes. It'll be a bit of a battle, I think, because there will be moderates there will be moderates that will fight about it on both sides, and it's something we all gotta watch.
Well,
okay?
see, yeah, exactly. Because yesterday it was kind of a hoo-ha joke, but then if this has went through and they've actually passed it on to the Senate, then it's not so much of a joke anymore, as in we really need to keep an eye on this.
Yeah,
because here's the thing. We were making a joke earlier about it won't be drone therapy unless we say, when will the hobby die? What happens if we take the leading manufacturer of the top quality drones completely out of the game?
Yeah, if this man gets his way, which he wants them pretty much never to have a device ever approved by the FCC again, and also he wants these devices out of the air. They literally called them Yahweh in the sky. And I made a video recently. Yahweh with wings. I made a recent video about DJI and their troubles as a company with the FPV system and everything that's been going on. And I actually brought up the phone company, Yahweh. I mentioned that I was kind of worried that they could end up going down further the path that Yahweh has gone, And then to see this happen yesterday was like, well, damn, I guess I was right. I wish I wasn't, because it seems like this is the way they're trying to go for it. Hopefully he doesn't get his way.
This is even more devastating, though, the fact that the entire House voted to send it to the Senate.
Right. Which means that it
was
is
ha ha ha, but now we're actually worried about heartbeat thing.
Which means that it is plausible that he could get what he wants.
Yeah.
He could get the modifications that he needs done to the covered list and to expand it to basically give DJI the death blow.
Yeah, we need, what's his name, Ryan? What's his name, the lawyer? He would know, because we're gonna catch hell for this. Some people are gonna say, "Oh, y'all are full of shit. You don't understand. You don't know what you're talking about." But I'm like, yeah, this looks pretty much like they are agreeing with him, considering it left the House and went on to the Senate. So it does not look good.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been getting crap for having questioning, because I've seen it in the chat sometimes. People are like, "Oh, you're just too worried about this entity list stuff." I was concerned about what DJI's future was going to be from the moment that I heard that they were put on the entity list, as far as future products, what that meant for the United States going after them further. I mean, it is a different climate today. It is a different world, and obviously the United States does not want to stop whacking DJI. I mean, look at it. There it is. It's right there. It's in front of your face. I don't know how much more obvious it can be.
See, that's, and like I said, what kind of dent is that going to put in the hobby effectively? Because like you said, John, that's pretty much the end of the digital side, or like I said, the top of the line product for the digital side. Just like in the drone manufacturer stuff that people, ordinarily people would fly, that's what's there, and that's the people go, "Well, you're just a DJI fanboy." No, I just want something that's reliable and doesn't screw up that much, which is DJI. So if you take them out of the market completely, and then you give them all this garbage, well, not garbage, but like Skydio is almost $2,000 now, so there's not going to be any lower end other than Autel, which is still built in China, made in China, and as a matter of fact, a lot of DJI employees now work there. How long before they point the finger at them?
Yeah, I mean, look, depending on how far it goes, my understanding is that this would not stop you from flying what you have. It would not stop you from being able to fly what you have. If they were put on this covered list, it would just basically spell the end of DJI as a company here in the United States.
I'm not anymore.
You would own a Mavic Air 2, and good luck with future support for it, because DJI would basically be forced to fold overnight. You know what I mean? That's basically what we would be looking at. Probably what would happen is the camera bird sector would be set back drastically. Because like you said, they are the kingpin in the camera bird sector for drones. They are. Whether anyone likes that or not, they are. So yeah, it would be a major setback. We do have there. I think the hobby would still go on without DJI. Like let's make no mistake. DJI has put drones in the hands of tons and tons of people. Yeah, no disagreement there. But the hobby would still go on without DJI. The hobby was there before DJI. It'll be there even after they're gone.
My belief is, though, that what's going to happen is that the hobby side of the sport is going to become such an expensive hobby that it's going to weed out most of the people that would really, really enjoy it and benefit from it. That's what I feel personally.
I think we might just be set back technology-wise. We haven't really seen a company able to copy what DJI has been able to do at the price point that they've been able to offer it. There really isn't. There's nothing that I've seen to match that. So there would just be, I think, a
What
setback.
if it's that? What if it's that? What if the U.S. manufacturers have said, "Hey, we can't sell that product at that price here," and so they've said, "Okay, well, we'll just get rid of your competition."
We also have another problem here. You guys know why DJI was put on the entity list, right? Or why they were allegedly put on that list?
For being bad to people.
Supposedly, in alleged connections, I'm saying alleged because I don't think Drone Derby's ever going to get sued, but it's the truth. Allegedly, human rights related violations that the Chinese government was using DJI drones to commit human rights violations. What the extent of that is, I don't know. Okay, but if it can happen to DJI, why can't it happen to anything that's going on over there? I mean, just think about it. Everything is made over there. Everything is made over there. DJI is probably just a target because they're the big maker over there.
Exactly, yeah.
What's to stop it from happening to Autel? Yeah, what's to stop it from happening to
Well,
Autel?
now Rod was saying that Autel had its enterprises in the U.S. now, but still, it's all built on boards and, like you were saying earlier, silicon and stuff that came from there, stuff that was designed there, stuff that was made there, all that.
Right.
And then again, it's got probably some U.S. tech inside it, and if they're going to use that as a reasoning, like I said, a lot of the people that used to work for DJI in the Purge all went to Autel. That's why these new products came out. That's why they look so similar, man. It wasn't hard for us to figure all that out. So it's gonna. What I'm saying is it's looking now like there's the 3 or 4 U.S. drone manufacturers, one major drone manufacturer, have just said we can't compete at that price level, and benefit us and our our employees. So it's just a matter of, okay, we'll get rid of the market. Maybe
I'm not going to go too far into this, but China has had a situation with and I don't know if I'm saying their name right, the Uyghurs for quite some time now, and you can look into all of that, and I believe that allegedly it has something to do with all of that, and that's a whole ball of wax. We're not going to get into it, but if the Chinese Communist Party is using DJI's quads to have something to do with any of that, that's part of why they are where they are.
If they got a drone that can reach a heartbeat, I want it.
Yeah, me too.
Now, here's the other thing, though. Every Chinese company is by law required to cooperate with their Chinese intelligence services, and they have to turn over whatever information they have to the intelligence services, and that's where they're sinking the hook on DJI on the national security threat. They got put on the entity list because of the violations, human rights violations. Right. Because it was easy to put them on for it, and it's hell to trying to get off of that.
Yeah.
And I saw Mr. Flying Eyes making a comment saying, "Oh, now the government, cares for human rights." Look, I don't know what's going on with DJI for sure, but I do agree that this is why this is a political issue, right? Because we're picking on DJI for this, and we're selectively picking on this for that, when there are plenty of inconsistencies in the way that the United States goes after or doesn't go after a country, in my opinion, for human rights related violations. So I'll just leave it at that. We do it selectively.
Yeah, it wasn't at the bottom line is this subject was brought up for is it looks like that we may not have the DJI drones, or that there's a bigger possibility than we thought there was yesterday, because everybody's like, "Oh, fake news, it's bullshit." And then to find out today that it actually has passed through the House means that there is some logic to it now. It's
plausible that something
anymore.
could actually happen.
And we were joking saying this guy's going to get canned because he's saying, but now this has actually gone through the House. We don't know what the thing about it is. It'd be interesting to see the vote. If the vote's hugely high for it, 400 to 25, then the DJI may be toast.
Yeah, they might be. They might be, because if they're willing to do that for Huawei, then they will do it for DJI, and they're just.
It's not.
They're not. I don't even know. What do you guys think we should?
What, Chris?
It's
What?
not just DJI. I mean, I posted in the chat yesterday. I went through a security audit, and they found out we had this certain camera system, and this guy that went nuts. He said, "You got to turn it off."
Okay,
said,
so Corey actually found the quote. Corey actually found the quote. Yeah, that it was that DJI had been supplying drone tech to security forces in China to basically, I guess, monitor the Uyghurs. Right, that was the problem. But what do you guys think we should do about this? I wanted to ask you guys, like, I thought about this yesterday. I'm like, do we write to this Brandon Carr individual and say, I am just a little guy at home. I've spent a lot of money on my drones. I'm, if any of you guys do 107 work with your drones, maybe write to them and say that if they do something about this, it's going to be devastating for lots of small business, for lots of small business people.
This right here may be the one thing that saves it.
Yes, very possible.
Hopefully they'll say so divided that neither one of them will get people enough. That's why I want to see the vote. If the vote's really, really high and they got both sides to vote on it, we're toast. It may be that's it.
Right, and Uncle Bill brings that up because he says, most of them don't even know what the hell they're voting for, and if they just see China drone, China bad, all right, voting for that. That they don't know shit. That's the problem. They don't know shit, and they don't know about how many people are going to be caught up in this as collateral damage. I was thinking my county has DJI drones. I know they have multiple. I think they have multiple Mavic Enterprises. So, we're talking about them potentially obliterating the value of millions of dollars across the United States in drone hardware.
Brought it up. See, the rest of them are all in China, too.
They are. Exactly, Greg. And there's nothing that stops China from doing the same thing to DJI that, they could do it to other companies too. What's to stop China from putting a stick up Autel's ass and saying, your drones are going to help us surveil these Uyghurs? What's to stop that? Where does it end?
Yeah, so, right here, to ensure that the Federal Communications Commission does not approve a radio frequency device that poses a national security risk. Did you all see this? Hang on, let me flip this.
And see, that's what they're going after them for. They're not going after them for human rights.
I totally get that, but they voted it through the House today, so it's not bullshit anymore.
That's Yahweh, though. Yahweh, they went after Yahweh over national security.
This is the new bill that they're calling is the Yahweh loophole that they're trying to close.
This is the thing they voted on today.
Yes, so that's what they're saying. So that if
they're in a hurry about it, no later than 1 year after the date of the enactment.
Sean, did you have something you wanted to add to this?
Oh wow, Mr. GEEKSVANA is back.
Yeah, hey guys, sorry, I felt bad. So once I'd finished my other thing, I thought I'd hop back on. I don't get to be with, I don't get to hang out with you guys enough, so I thought I'd hop back on.
Well, damn, God. Can't believe he's back.
Well, see, this is what we're talking about.
This is great, though, because you can kind of weigh in on this whole FCC thing that we've been crapping on about here.
That's what we're saying. The one thing that might save us is the bitter division. But then we found out today that, yesterday it was kind of a joke. He was kind of funny. But then we found out that this went through the House today and has been sent to the Senate. So it's already been voted.
I mean, as I said to John when we were chatting on Direct Messenger about this, the one thing you have to respect is this particular commissioner's track record on things that he wants to get through tend to get through.
Well, right, yeah. You said that he has a good track record on getting what he wants, I believe, when he asks for it is, I think the wording you use with me, right? Yeah,
indeed, yeah. And it's just a very, very interesting dynamic at the moment, basically. And as Bill just said, perhaps the division thing will assist from that point of view, but who knows?
I'm trying to find. Okay, there it is. Okay, all right.
I was looking at a link that Charles shared about how a rescue drone sensor can detect heartbeats and breathing. So
from a California company, though.
And that was 5 years ago. Okay,
Yeah,
that was five
but
years
your
ago.
cell phone can do that shit now.
Right, so
Think about it.
but what's alleged though? What's alleged is that the drones are used to detect those
Universally
things,
can
right?
do these
And we were
things.
and we were kind of just laughing at that notion earlier, but yet perhaps it's very plausible that they're using.
Okay,
them for
but
that.
really and truthfully, what information are they going to gather from breathing and heartbeats? We eat too freaking much, and we need to exercise more. We
Well,
all
wait.
already know that.
Wait a minute. When we had this whole pandemic going on in high gear, they were going to send out drones to detect people that
Yep.
run higher than average temperature.
Yep.
I was
There
gonna
were
say-
pushes for that, and
I was going to say, Bill, that
politicians were pushing for that.
they're looking, Bill. They're looking for where these guys are, if you know, to capture them is what I think it is. I mean, that's what I
Can I-
thought it was.
Can I give a different, and this is a removed perspective from the point of view of bringing sci-fi into it for a moment. Okay, there was a very good book that I read many years ago, and technology was still the kind of tech we have now was still very much sci-fi at that point. But they were talking about in this book they made up a foreign Asian nation that would be the bad guy, and taking all of the data, so all of our data, so every single social media photograph, every single drone photo, every single drone video, every single piece of data that we upload, and putting that into an AI system, and basically the map that essentially gives you on every part of life, on where people shop, where literally everything about your life is available to that database, to that data. And I think from a big data point of view, I can see that argument, but I'm not necessarily sure whether picking on DJI is necessarily the correct move forward at this stage. But again, there's so many aspects to it, isn't there? There's trying to stop US dollars going into China and that type of thing as well, and there are so many aspects to it.
The biggest thing is we need to know what the vote count was. That's what I said. That's the biggest thing we need to know. If they were unified on this, then DJI could very well be toast. But if there was some, partisanship and it barely squeaked through, then we got a pretty good chance of it not affecting it.
Some partisanship? Oh, some.
Well, I'm just trying to say, I would on this particular issue, I would love for them to be divided rather than united.
Right.
can
Well,
count on
I think Sean, you were telling me that it's possible that there'll be a number of moderates who will say, "Well, I don't know if we should really be this harsh about it."
The issue, and again, this is everything I say is on removed perspective. So I apologise for being the British accent talking about American politics. So I apologise there. The problem is that you have to look at the moderate view on anything, and the moderate view on this is, okay, this is a bill that's going to stop X, Y, Z happening, and at worst it's going to stop US dollars going into China. It's going to stop even the remote possibility of China using that data from a spy point of view, and from an intelligence point of view. So
Right.
even moderates are probably going to agree with that. And as you guys were saying before, what you need are experts in the room to say, actually, these drones are precision equipment and they're saving lives, and they can save more lives, etc. If you want DJI to remain in the US, that is.
Right.
Whoa. The equipment act by a decisive vote of 420 to 4.
Oh yeah, that's a bad sign.
That's what it was. Wow.
That's a bad
To
sign. man.
remove the ally
That's a
equipment.
bad sign. So yeah, from looking at it from that point of view, DJI could pretty well be screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only difference might be is that how much Yahweh hardware is actually being used here in the United States on major backbones or anything like that, especially at this point.
It won't
You know,
matter
I did see-
if the thing about it is if this passes the Senate, this gives him the vehicle to go ahead and
keep doing
DJI
more.
out. This is
Right, and try to do more.
'Cause this
right,
isn't
right.
that what's going through Congress is not
420 to 4. Oh,
specifically DJI,
right.
but he will use this to kick DJI out of the country. And
Pretty
for
much,
that matter, the way this is worded, just like we were speculating earlier, he can do this with any Chinese drone manufacturer.
Yeah, he can. And where does it stop?
Like that.
Where does it stop? Exactly. Like, what is to stop China from putting a stick up Autel's butt and saying, all right, DJI's banned, now you're going to be our guy. I mean...
Well, there are specific reasons. There is specific backstory and specific reasons why DJI could be argued as a greater risk than most other Chinese drone manufacturers and even other Chinese tech companies.
Didn't like DJI just recently go through a purge, and a lot of their people go to Autel. So your security risk may have very well walked right over there too.
No, yeah, I mean it's more actually essentially the way they're starting to run things internally is almost like a military organization. They refer to their VPs and their directors as general and that type of thing, and the memos, etc. And and they are, by shedding this staff, they're becoming much more centralized to China, and they're cutting their tentacles that are going out into other countries. So there is specific concerns, which I do understand, about DJI as a company, and I can see why, removing my drone hat and removing my love of drones, I can see why, if you're going to pick on anybody at the moment, it could be this company.
All right, so sell your DJI stuff tonight. That's the...
Well, no. I mean, hold on to it, because when the FCC no longer gives licenses to their equipment, or the used market's going to surely double and treble. I mean, they're not going to ban existing. Yeah. They're not going to ban existing drones in your house. You know, it's going to, as Kai said, it's going to explode.
He said he wasn't going to allow them in the air. Period.
Yeah.
Any DJI product.
Yeah, remote ID will take care of that.
Yeah, indeed. Anything with a DJI serial number, dead.
Yeah, because then they won't be able to get... Ooh, what a good point, dude. They won't be able to get an FCC-approved remote ID module for any of their... Oh, wow. Holy crap.
Then...
Crazy.
Wait, here we go. Drone spoofing.
Yeah,
it will be a thing. It will be a thing. Can you imagine? Yeah. That's gonna be one of the first things that happens. Oh, well, his drone was right there in front of that plane. No, there's nothing there. But it says there's a drone there. There's no drone there. Seriously, I'm looking. So that's and it's going to be, look, here it is. John Coopy will be flying in Seattle around the Space Needle.
No.
But he was sighted in Missouri. How could he be in two places at once? Drones spoofing. I still think that'll happen too. Oh shit. Oh, I knocked it off. Oh, anyway. So it's been a very, 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 very interesting evening, and this didn't get as crazy as I thought it would. I thought it would actually go batshit crazy, but we managed to keep it under wraps. But the fact that number is so devastatingly high is not a good sign for DJI.
I just
Forbes magazine has the article if anybody's looking for it.
Damn.
Forbes.com.
I just sent an email to Ted Cruz, so we'll see what happens.
That's bullshit, though, man. I can't believe it will. Like I said, I actually, because Brian and them were like, "Oh, it's never gonna happen," and then Kyle's like, "You need to see this," and so, and then to find out that it's already gone through the House with, I mean, think about it. That was a partisan vote. That was a fully wide open actual government vote working there, man, and it does not look good. So, and it may be, like you said, John, they may have saw drones in China, but then Sean pointed out logically that there is a lot more involved with it. But like I said, if they stop DJI, then they're just going to go to another Chinese manufacturer to do the same damn thing. I mean, logic tells me that, right? Wouldn't it tell you that?
There seems, well, I mean, I guess again, where does it end, right? Where does this really end?
It's the handshakes. It's the handshakes between China and the US as a business, and DJI's handshake is gone now. Autel has a good handshake with the American marketplace, and there is enough. I think there's enough openness there that they won't necessarily move straight on to. I don't think it will necessarily be a wave, but Huawei were certainly, the Dark Lords, as it were, and you know, certainly deserve to be on the new version of the cover list whenever that happens. But
Right.
you know, and as I say, DJI, you can argue as well. You have to remember that we're talking about a country in China, and I love the Chinese. There are elements of the Chinese culture I love, etc. But there are two laws in China that basically state that once a company is a certain size, it has to open its books and it has to open its systems to the intelligence services. And in China, you are not allowed to refuse to spy on behalf of the state. And these are these are not 1928 laws. These were put in 2015 and 2017. So you know, I can understand the concern.
I just want to say that he just said that he loves China. Okay, he loves China. That's all I'm saying. You heard it here on Drone Therapy. I love China.
Here's the thing, and I totally I understand how, but here's the thing with the vote count as high as it was, I don't expect them to be anything that they're going to change. I really think that this one's going to blow through just the way it is. There's not going to be any committees formed. There's not going to be anything. It's going to be a done deal, and we're going to hear about it here in a couple of weeks. It's just going to be done.
It's done.
And, I mean, I totally get this and everything, but I think it's just going to be over with.
Matt.
Hey, so all right.
Well,
With
happy
all that being
Thanksgiving,
said-
Bill.
What?
I said happy Thanksgiving. Couple of weeks, huh? How's it going? This is going to be great. What a Black Friday.
Well, like Black Friday, I don't think we're going to get any kind of deals on anything because they don't know for sure what they can get
Right.
here. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's the shipping deal. They're like, we're not sure what we're
Same
going to
here.
get. There you go.
I'm with
I
you.
can deal with
I'm
that
with you,
too.
Bill.
I can go with. I think
can
most
deal
people
with
can
that
go with
too.
that.
Who is an online buffet? You know what now?
I'm out, Bill. I got to go, man.
All right. Yes. Thank you, sir. And we're getting to that point where we need to wind her up here. So first off, I'll let Chris say his good evening since he's going to take off first.
Good to see everybody tonight. It's always fun to come on Bill's show and aggravate him. And,
Don't forget next week, Billy Kyle.
Get to visit with y'all, and y'all can come back and see old Billy next week. Billy boy.
Yes.
Night, everybody.
Where have you been, charming Billy?
Oh, Billy! You know what I'm talking about.
Boy, yes, that's an inside joke, folks. Thank you very
That's
much. Next up, we're going to go to Mr. John Coopy.
Good chat, good conversations tonight, guys. We definitely got to see where this goes. Thank you, Sean, for coming on with us. Thank you, Kai, for coming on with us. It's been an absolutely awesome night. Looking forward to
GEEKSVANA.
Billy next week.
Yeah, Billy. Oh, sorry.
Remember, everybody, John Coopy is for Christmas, not for life.
Brian!
Oh, this is so good. This is so much fun. I enjoy the heck. I learned so much stuff on this show. I never knew there was such love between GEEKSVANA and John. It amazes me.
We
Yeah,
all
I need
know
to
how
go
much
get
he
a ring.
loves China tonight, guys. Remember that.
If I had a beep button, I would tell you how I really felt.
Ah, and last but not least, Kai, Lone Star UAV.
Well, thanks for having me. My debut for drone therapy.
Yes.
There's plenty of people saying that I should have had therapy a long time ago. Just
Agreed.
one more thing to Bill's story earlier was in the basement. I always figured his parents kept him in the basement.
Now, that's what I said. That's how I knew something was up. They actually let me live in the top part of the house for a month. So I knew something wasn't normal. So anyway, yes, and I'm very grateful to have had everyone on tonight, and we will see you next week for, let me get this wound up here. I got to find my little thingy. Which one we're going to use? Let's use that one. All right. And so we will see everyone next week for Mr. Billy Kyle. And yes, we will be giving away the Skydio swag. I have a Skydio hat, and the sunglasses fell on the floor. And if I move back there, I'll rip the earplugs out of my ears, and I will scream like a whimpering baby. So, but yes, they're cheap sunglasses, but they look cool. They say Skydio on the side, and the hat and the sunglasses will go together. I have no idea what kind of game to use to give it away. I hate doing those random number bullshit thingy.
Squid
Yeah.
Game. Let's play the Squid Game.
The Squid Game. with Billy being the big puppet, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So anyway, with that being said, please join us next week. Live long and prosper.